From NBC 40 News, this is Forum 40.
It's a parent's worst nightmare. A knock on the door at 4 a.m. and then the news from the officers. Your child was in a fatal car accident. This is what happened to Bill and Muriel Elliott on July 22, 2000, when their 22-year-old son, Navy Ensign John Elliott, lost his life in a head-on collision with a drunk driver. Shock, disbelief, and grief led to an inner strength and a firm resolve by Bill and his family to do everything in their power to prevent this tragedy from happening to others. Within months, they formed the Ensign John R. Elliott Hero Campaign for designated drivers. In the 14 years that have passed, the Hero Campaign has made amazing strides in its mission to promote safe and sober driving. They have changed drunk driving legislation in 7 states, established programs in high schools and colleges, and partnered with law enforcement, bars, and taverns, to name just a few of their accomplishments. Today, we will meet a Stockton College student who was elected Hero of the Year and local law enforcement officer to shed light on how this program is working. But first, we are joined by the founder and chairman of the Hero Campaign, John's father, Bill Elliott. You know, Bill, we go back a long way, and I can remember when this happened. You were talking about your son graduating from the Naval Academy, getting ready to go to flight school, and such promise in his life. And I had just had my son. He was 3 days old when I read the news, and I couldn't not believe it, because I thought to myself, there was a time that Bill and Muriel took their son home from the hospital, and how much they loved that baby, and all the years since. And it just was shocking. No one could believe it, and I know you most of all. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the drunk driver was in custody before he hit your son. And that, to me, is just an unbelievable part of the story. This could have been prevented. Can you take us back to that time?
Yes, you're right. Police had the drunk driver in custody. Our son was coming home for his mother, my wife's birthday, Muriel's birthday, and was stationed at the academy, and so he couldn't get off till late in the evening, and picked up his girlfriend Kristen and was on his way home, and he was hit and killed by a person who'd been arrested by police, released to a friend who, instead of driving him home, put him back behind the wheel. If he had only driven his friend home, we wouldn't be here today. Our son would be here. He'd be serving his country. It's a tragedy everybody can relate to, and we certainly want to prevent.
Absolutely. And this spurred new legislation, which is amazing that you were able to get this accomplished. Tell us about John's Law.
Well, we approached our legislators at the time, Senator Gormley and Senator Gormley, Assemblyman Lefevre and Blee, and everyone virtually got on board very quickly. This bill was passed in about 4 or 5 months, requiring police to impound the cars of drunk drivers, when they're arrested, when they're drunk, when you want to separate them from their car. And that was implemented in 2001, and each year it accounts for somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 arrests in New Jersey alone. It has since then been passed in some other states, Maryland and Massachusetts most notably. And there was a national version that was passed and signed into law in 2005 by President Bush that offered highway safety grants to states that had impoundment for DUI suspects.
And this is making a difference, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. In fact, police have said it's a wonderful tool because it removes any, it's a black and white issue. You're arrested, you flunk the breathalyzer, your car gets towed, and you can't get it back for 12 hours. If somebody else owns the car and is not the person who's intoxicated, they can pick up the car, but the person who is arrested under suspicion of DUI can't drive within 12 hours, which is what would have saved our son's life if there had been a law like that in place.
And we really don't know how many people have been saved by this.
Well, and police tell us that it's not uncommon. When you release somebody, they'll get back behind the wheel somehow.
That's amazing.
Because they're still intoxicated, so they're still impaired.
They're not thinking straight.
Right.
Now, the name of this organization has a special meaning, HERO. What does that stand for?
Well, at the Naval Academy, they have, every company of about 100 midshipmen has a human education resource officer called a hero. And he or she is a person that reaches out and helps their fellow midshipmen with personal problems, academic problems they don't want to really go up the line of command, chain of command with. John was so good at it, so caring, so thoughtful, would help people with homework, all kinds of things. They named him the Hero of the Year at the Naval Academy this spring of his senior year. So we took that hero concept. He was the outstanding hero at the Naval Academy, took it to apply to the designated driver who is the hero because they take their friend who's had too much to drink and give them a safe ride home. So that's the linkage between John and the hero in our hero campaign, which is the designated driver.
It really is a simple mission, and you're trying to get people to register to be designated drivers, right?
Yes, I mean, our ultimate goal is to register 1 million designated drivers nationwide. This coming year is our 15th anniversary. It's going to be the year of the hero, and so we're looking to really work in all those 7 states where we have operations to try to register up to 100,000 new designated drivers. And many of them already are serving as designated drivers, so let's give them the recognition
give them some
they
credit.
deserve. Yes.
Absolutely. And it is, you said it earlier when we were talking, it's becoming cool to be the designated driver.
Well, we certainly hope so. In Virginia, the governor, when we kicked this off in Virginia a few years ago, said, "You have made being a designated driver cool." And I thought, what a great description.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, that it's hip to be a designated driver. You're not the spoil sport. You're the person that allows people to have fun and still get home safely.
And I love your slogan, "Be the life of the party."
Yes.
That's wonderful, and
That's
that's
our new slogan.
certainly what it is. But I think it's, and I hope it's changing, and it's slow to change sometimes, but just like smoking used to be cool, and now it's not cool, so drinking and driving is becoming uncool. Do you see that attitude changing? Do you feel it?
Oh, we definitely do. I mean, we get feedback all the time from around the country that people are changing their behavior because having a designated driver, having somebody drive you home is not incompatible with having a good time if your good time includes alcoholic beverages. We certainly don't endorse, you know, drinking too much. We endorse responsibility. This is about making right choices, after all. That's what the Hero campaign is about.
But it's about reality. People are going to have a drink or a few.
You know, you go to a ball game, and that's why we work with the Phillies and the New York Giants and the Patriots, and we have designated driver programs in those stadiums, and that we're looking to expand that. We're in Kentucky and Louisville. They're planning to have an event next year in Louisville, Kentucky, and we had a walk at Gillette Stadium, and we have our annual walk coming up October 5th on the Ocean City Boardwalk, and it keeps growing every year, which is a great sign that people believe
That
in the
is
cause.
just, it's a wonderful event.
It's not exactly the Ice Bucket Challenge. We're going to figure out
something to do for that.
Jump in the ocean.
Yeah, right. But no, it was it's always beautiful. I was there last year. It was actually warm out, and it's a gorgeous.
Well, you're our warm-up celebrity.
We use that term loosely, celebrity, but I'm happy to do it. And it's a really wonderful event. You get about 2,000 people that come out, and I know you have your golf tournament, and you have so many events throughout the year. You were just with NASCAR. Tell us about that. Great experience.
The State of Kentucky Office of Highway Safety actually sponsored a NASCAR race. It was on ESPN, and they named it after John and the Hero campaign. It was the John Elliot Hero Campaign 300. And we got to meet all these famous drivers like Dale Earnhardt, and Kevin Harvick was the winner of the race. And we got to start the race on ESPN, and Pete Thompson did a great piece about it. Channel 40 has been a wonderful, wonderful supporter over the years.
Thank you.
And we want to thank you, Robin, personally, and the whole station.
You know, it's near and dear to my heart,
and the
Bill,
reporters,
absolutely.
and you know, Michelle and Pete and Dan. All of you have just been wonderful.
Thank you.
You know, part of the Hero family.
It's close to our hearts, and you know, you're part of our family here. So you know, anything that we could do, and we're so happy to do this program and talk about your upcoming year. That it's going to be a big year for you all.
We're going to have a gala next summer in Atlantic City, and we'd be proud to have you on our committee.
I would
We've
love to
talked
do
about
it.
That.
You know,
So
I'm open to always helping you.
the
You
best
know
is
I am.
yet to come.
Absolutely, Bill. Thank you so much for joining us. And coming up next, we'll talk with Stockton senior Al Nagby, who will talk about the programs in colleges and high schools. Stay with us.